Welcome back to Wind Waker. Last time we got the last of the goddess's pearls, and now we're going to be placing them on 3 specific islands in order to make our way toward the next dungeon. The first of the 3 islands that I'm going to be going to is directly south of Windfall Island, so it shouldn't be too much of a chore to get to. However, there is that big tornado in the distance. Thank goodness that appeared because I kinda didn't have anything to talk about. You wanna avoid it at all costs at this point in the game. We will be dealing with it a little bit later, pretty much after we clear the next dungeon, but for now, don't get anywhere near it. It'll basically initiate one of those, well, something similar to the big Octorok fights, kinda like how we were trapped in a whirlpool back when we had to blow up the rock behind Outset Island. And so we place this first pearl, and this Din statue, I guess you could call it, because it has the mark of Din on it, and we place Din's pearl in it. Kind of has a big nose. It's very defining feature, let's say. Now let us head south again to the next of the Triangle Islands, which I'm probably going to be skipping to. It's 2 squares south of here. Here's the second Triangle Island, surrounded by a bunch of these big pea-hat things that I do not want to hit me. Get away! Jeez, these things are huge and scary. And I can't even reach them with my boomerang. Oh well. Let us put this second pearl in this Nehru statue, which seems to have a mouth as its defining feature. You might be noticing a pattern. The red one had a big nose, the blue one has a mouth. Perhaps you can guess what the third one is gonna have if you've played a certain other Nintendo series. And I'm gonna be skipping to that one too. It's to the northeast of here. 2 blocks to the east and then 1 block north. And now the third island, which is surrounded by a bunch of relatively harmless tornadoes. They just change your direction while you're in them. Not too bad, they don't do any damage or anything like that. So, probably the least dangerous of all of the obstacles near these islands. And this last statue, Furor's statue, has 2 ears. So, if you couldn't guess, they're based off of the original 3 types of Pikmin in the first Pikmin game. The yellow Pikmin, which has been replaced by the green here, have ears. The blue Pikmin, which was the Nehru statue, has a mouth, and the red Pikmin, which is the Din statue, which was orange rather than red, has a big nose. So, yeah, that's that little reference for you. And I do not think you should be getting close to that statue because it is probably gonna... Yeah, that's what happens. And beneath the statues are little other statues that are supposed to resemble the goddesses, I suppose. The Furor statue doesn't really match that much, although we haven't really seen the goddesses. I say this because I know what the oracles look like because I've played the Legend of Zelda Oracle games. And that Triforce looks really weird, but that might be the angle that I'm sitting at. It looks kind of slanted, I guess, or stretched in one area. Yeah, that's probably the angle. And from beneath the surface rises this big tower, which is actually a location that was foreshadowed on Tetra's map. I'm gonna be getting the whatchamacallit, the fish guy, yes, for this island, so that I can show it on the map and compare the 2. Essentially though, if the King of Redlines doesn't decide to interrupt me while this is happening, and he probably will, so let's see if he does. And he totally does. Okay, yeah, this is 3rd dungeon, Tower of the Gods. there's some trial inside. So it's not actually evil dungeon, it's more like a good dungeon trying to test you and stuff. So that's pretty cool. Where's Mr. Fishman? If I could see him. He's probably on the other side of the island or something. Oh, there he is. Wait, let me get out my bait. There we go. And here you are. Yes, yes. Give me the information. You're not different from the other one. I'm 100% sure you're the same guy. So stop talking like we keep first meeting each other. There it is on the map. And I guess I gotta take out my picto box to show the other thing. Triumph forks. Sounds very interesting, and apparently Tingle knows about them. I haven't been giving Tingle visits, but we'll be doing so in a short while. Mostly because now that I have bombs, we can actually grab the Tingle statues. And let me get out my picto box to show that thing. And wait, no, that's not what I want to do. The album, please. Yes, you see this map here. It has the locations of where we got the pearls, or at least where we were supposed to get the pearls. Dragon Roost, the Forest Haven, and Greatfish Island. And then it has the location of where we placed the pearls as another triangle. And then in the center is that weird structure that kind of resembles the ring that this island creates, or not really island, that this dungeon creates. So yeah, we've been making a Triforce with this whole map, which is a pretty cool touch, and it kind of goes to show that the Greatfish Isle was actually supposed to be where we got the pearl, and where there would be the third dungeon, which I guess would be our water dungeon. But instead, we get this place, which is, in my opinion, where the game starts, how should I put this, riling up, I guess? Although this first room isn't exactly an example of that. The water level keeps changing, and this isn't Ocarina of Time's water temple. You can't actually go underneath the surface of the water. So, we're at the mercy of said water in order to get to certain rooms. And the water continuously floods this place, even within these rooms. Let me get my bombs out. And let's blow up some of these rocks. Hopefully the water level doesn't lower right now. Okay, perfect. Over there is just some pots, I guess. There's one specific area that we need to blow up, and I guess I can move this block. Oh, or I could run into it and destroy it. I wanted to move it so that I could get closer to the last of these breakable walls. Oh, it's this one that has the treasure chest, actually. I don't recall if this is the map or a treasure chart. Kind of hoping it's the map. And of course, now that we have bombs, there will be bomb drops for us to recover them. Though I have 99 bombs right now, so it's not that big of a deal. And once we get the dungeon map, that triggers a bunch more chews to start appearing. The yellow chew jelly, I believe, are functionally the same as the blue chew jelly we encountered before. You gotta stun them with your boomerang before you actually are able to inflict any damage on them, because otherwise you just get electrocuted. Also, touching them electrocutes you, so don't do that either. Let us proceed into this room right over here. Sailing around is kind of slow because you don't have the sail or anything. It's not really sailing, it's more just cruising at the game, as the game puts it. These switches are new. You have to put something on them and keep it on them in order for them to stay active. So we just place the statue, and Link's face is in the screen, and that opens the room. In this room, I believe we need to make a path somehow. So let's kill this chew. I believe the yellow chews are capable of dropping any color. Well, not any color. Dropping red or green. There isn't any yellow chew jelly in this game. And of course, only the blue ones can drop blue because the blue stuff is special. There we go. While the water level is low, that box will now stay on that switch, and we can make ourselves a little rainbow bridge to get across. So if the water could go down, thank you. Maybe these boxes got something in them. I am kind of low on health right now, but I have a fairy on me, so I'm not too worried. And because we picked this up, the room door starts glowing, and we do not want to run across while having this in our hands. At least, not immediately after picking it up, because if you fall down there, you're gonna have to reset the room in order to get this thing back into its pedestal. Or maybe it resets itself, like it spawns back out of the pedestal somehow. I don't know. Just don't risk it. It'll take up more of your time than just waiting. So let us place this in Nia. And that opens up this gate. Or, wow, I was kind of planning on jumping into boat rather than falling off of him like that. You can jump into boat, it's just that a lot of the times when you try to do it, other than this time, I guess, you'll most likely have to talk to him before doing so, so you'll land right next to him and then he'll chat with you. Which is a little annoying, because it is shown that he can talk to you while you're in the boat. So I don't see why they couldn't just make it so you get in the boat and then he talks to you right after that. But whatevs. I believe this room has what we need, and it's probably the most complex of the rooms so far. We need to make ourselves a little bridge using these blocks here in order to get a Deku stick that's lit aflame across the room so that we can light those torches. This, yeah, that's too big of a distance. So, we gotta wait for the water to go down. That is a little bit annoying that we just have to wait. It doesn't add any difficulty to the puzzle or anything like that. And I just destroyed one of the blocks. Great. Okay, let's move this one instead. And hopefully the water... Yep, okay. Well, we can see if this is a jump I can make. And again, it's one I cannot. So, just gotta move this one slightly back. Then grab our Deku stick and dash across the room. Although, alternatively, I guess you could grab a Deku stick, light it aflame, and then throw it to the other end of the room. Hopefully it'll land there, and then you dash across without having to worry about falling into the water or anything like that. But I haven't tried it that way, and I think that's a little too risky. So let's just do it this way. And that was perfect. I made it. Give me my small key. That's probably what's in here. If I could open the chest, please. Yep. So now we can start heading to the left side of this dungeon. And of course there's going to be chews that drop from the ceiling and kill me. Luckily I had my fairy, and something a little different that this game does is rather than having a cutscene where you die and then the fairy comes out and saves you, the fairy just immediately comes out. I think that was different in the original game, and in most games I don't think they ever do that again. I'm not sure. I don't really die in Zelda games, so losing all my hearts isn't a common occurrence. Let's blow up these, if I could shoot correctly, and get into the next area. I don't think I can make it. Yep, I couldn't. Yeah, boat can't get past here, which is lame. We don't really need him. This area is very self-contained. And the rooms directly relate to one another, I believe. Like one of them maybe gives you the method of opening the other. I don't know. I think this might be from other games, but I think the yellow chew jellies, or the yellow choo-choos rather, actually do turn off their electricity from time to time. That might be another Zelda game that I'm thinking of. And here we have a bubble. In this game, the only way to kill bubbles, at least right now, is to attack them with the leaf to blow their smoke away, and then attack them with your sword to kill them permanently. The boomerang doesn't really do anything to them, which is kind of weird because usually the boomerang is the bubble's weakness. Or maybe something similar to bubbles. I might be thinking of like anti-fairies from other games, which kind of serve the same purpose sometimes, maybe. Well, now that we have this key, we can grab some sticks and head on down to that lower level after the water recedes. It's kind of more reminiscent of A Link to the Past's water temple. The one in the Dark World that I forget the name of. I don't recall if it was Misery Mire or Swamp Palace, but basically the way it worked was you would constantly raise the water level, and obviously you can't go underneath the water in that game, so like with this game, you're at the mercy of the water rather than being able to choose your elevation despite the water being at a different one. In this room, we just have to kill all of the chews. Oh, interestingly, they all die in one hit. I didn't know that. And of course, the water had to rise while I was killing them. If you touch them even while in water, they will hurt you, which kind of doesn't make sense, because they're electric and water conducts electricity really well, so they should be able to hurt you anyway. I believe they also have reaction commands, you could call them, the parry attack. Most chew jellies do. Basically, while you're locked on, you wait for them to lunge at you. Then the A button flashes and you can do your little counter. But the yellow and blue ones, I'm not sure if you can do the counter on because of their whole electricity thing. Now with this one, we just place it in this little pedestal right here, and that will open the way further in the dungeon, as you'd expect it to do, because that's kind of how dungeons work in Zelda games. And that is a very weird looking face. Kind of like the moon in Majora's Mask, maybe? Actually, there's no correlation, so not at all. Wow, the water lowered really quickly after that. Well, I could have sworn I just heard a chew jelly. A choo-choo. I keep mixing up the material and the enemy. We're done with Boat. Wow, I called him Boat. I meant to call him the King of Red Lions. I could have sworn I said earlier in this Let's Play that I'd give him some respect. Turns out I'm not exactly doing that. And which way is this guy turning? Is he going? Oh, well, thanks, rat guy. Okay, he was going clockwise, I guess? Oh, I need to bring one of those. I kind of forgot about that. Yeah, you gotta make sure you know which direction he's going, because if you go in the opposite direction, then you're obviously gonna get zapped. And you don't want that while you're carrying one of these things, because you can't move quickly while carrying one of these. Let's go back, grab another one, and wait for the rotation. And there we go. And with us on this last one, the platforms will start moving up and down. Sonic, which zone was it? Was it Spring Yard? Yeah, Spring Yard style, I guess. We want to get to the top of this area, because there is a special little secret up there on this platform right here. So let's place a bomb and then run away. And once it's blown up, it will reveal a treasure chest. How would you know to do this? You play the original version and you use the Tingle Tuner. Because within this treasure chest is the first of all of our Tingle statues. Kind of odd to get the one in the third dungeon first, but oh, well, okay. I didn't want to get the ones in the other dungeons right now, because it'll be a lot more convenient to do so after we finish this temple, in my opinion. So we get the third one first. What is the reward for getting all the Tingle statues? I don't even remember. So we'll deal with that when the time comes, I guess. For now we just have one, and if we go to Tingle Island we can see it. But I'm not going to Tingle Island, so who heckin' cares about that? Yeah, these pots are not going to do anything for me. I don't have hearts enabled due to the fact that I'm in hero mode. And of course this door's glowing, so we gotta go through this one first. And are there any enemies? Of course there is. A single chew. Give me an item orb. Or bombs. Bombs work. That eyeball seems suspicious. I probably should have killed those guys because they might get in my way. So I'm gonna do that. Bombs are also effective against chews. I totally could have used the reaction command thing there to show off whether or not they actually did electrocute me, but it's alright. I'm saving hearts. Let's read this. Press ZR. Listen carefully. Did you hear that? Did you hear Link say his little words? I'm probably going to up the volume on that so that you can actually hear it a little better. But yeah, we have these statues here that we can press the call button to call, and whenever Link does so, he'll say, which is kind of adorable. When you call them, they'll follow you. But if you pick them up and then put them down or throw them or whatever, then they'll stop following you until you press the call button again. So I guess that's a good way to get them to stop. There's no way to stop them otherwise. They could have easily made it so that if you press the button again, you'd stop them. But I guess the ZR button kind of has a lot of functions already, like crouching and blocking and such. So they didn't want to give it too many uses. And we can't actually... I don't think I'm actually going to go to that eyeball room, because the item we need to get into it is something we get later in the dungeon, and I kind of don't want to backtrack in these dungeons unless it's for the necessary Tingle statues. They're completely necessary to beat the game. 100% true. For recovering the first of these statues, we get a little reward. It's a new song for our... I was going to say ocarina for a second there. Our Wind Waker. This one being the first in 4/4 time. So let's take it out. And also I think this is the first one that uses the center, like, note, I guess you could call it. The one for not moving the stick in any direction. And there we have it. The command melody. Our third Wind Waker song of 6 in this game. There's only 6, which is kind of lame. Other games have a lot more songs, like Ocarina of Time with its 12. I think Majora's Mask also had 12 if you count the inverted and double songs of time. Either way, that's not really a good metric to determine how good a Zelda game is. Let's knock these down because I don't want them to bother me. Lock onto me or something. There we go. Now I could push you back, hopefully. There we go. And beat ya. Oh, something about the combo system in this game. I believe the last hit always does double the damage, so even if it's not a spin attack for the last hit, it'll still do 2 hits worth. Let's get out the grappling hook and swing across. Here's another use of the grappling hook in a dungeon that you didn't get it in. This game is pretty good about that, and I do not like the item placement actually, so let me switch this up a little bit. Okay, let us swing and call this next statue. I think these statues are also supposed to resemble the goddesses somehow because they all have different horn types, I guess you could call them. Anyway, let's put the statue down right here. Stand on this to create a bridge, and of course these switches you need to stand on constantly in order to keep them up. So let's use our new song. And with this command melody, you pretty much do what's on the tin. You command something else, like this statue. And to signify that it's being commanded by us, it has green lines instead of blue, which is a neat touch. Although it would have been cool if the statues normally had their own color lines to represent which goddess they're associated with, I guess, but that doesn't really matter in the long run, because the Furore statue would probably be used with green to signify its color, and Link is already green, so yeah, that's that. Kind of sucks that we don't have hearts right now, because I would probably like some for what's coming up next. I guess I could drink my elixir soup, and you know what? I'm gonna do exactly that. I'm gonna drink my soup. And Link smiles when drinking this rather than the weird face he makes whenever he drinks the potions. But with our double damage, and I guess I could equip this as well to make sure I don't get hurt, we'll take on the mini-boss of this dungeon. This is our first encounter with a Darknut. These guys are probably everyone's favorite enemy in this game because they really let you use the swordplay in this game. You do a bunch of flippy junk, spin around them. They can sometimes reciprocate your spin attacks, so if you're charging a spin attack, they'll perform one as well. Depending on the parry that you get on them, you can take off a different piece of their armor. If you get the one that does a back attack, then you'll take off their chest armor, and if you do the helm splitter attack, then you'll take off their helmets. I'd say the helmet is more useful to take off, and there's our next Knight's Crest. The reason I say you should take off the helmet is because if you do that, you can grab their Knight's Crests, which is the item they drop, so you can use the grappling hook on it. And if you take off their helmet, you can also hit them with the boomerang in order to stun them, which makes things a lot easier. The boomerang may not be getting used in this dungeon, but it is pretty good for combat, especially against big enemies like moblins or Darknuts. And we got the hero's bow! Finally we get a bow. Usually that's pretty early on in a game. Then again, Ocarina of Time was like the 4th dungeon when we got a bow, but also at the same time, we got the fairy slingshot, the replacement for the bow in the first dungeon, so let's just equip that. And this right here, this is a ranged weapon. This ain't no boomerang, this does damage to enemies, if I could actually hit them. Aiming is a little weird in this game. The arrows don't fly straight like they do in... What's the name of the game? And what was I doing there? I was being a complete dunce. You're supposed to use the grappling hook, not the boomerang. But the arrows kind of have a curve to their trajectory, rather than being a straight line like in Ocarina of Time. So let's swing to... If I could lock on, there we go. Swing back to the statue, and now that we've hit that eye switch, we've created these platforms so we could carry the statue across. It's not really a puzzle, but it's a very clever way of forcing you to get the item while at the same time forcing you to bring the statue over to this pedestal. That's kind of why I like Zelda games, I guess. It's not really... Whoa, kind of bumped a little bit there. It's not really the puzzle aspect. It's more like just going through the dungeons and being tested, I suppose. Because Zelda puzzles to me aren't really challenging per se. They more require you to just kind of explore and keep doing things. And that's what I like about Zelda games, just the exploration aspect of it. Puzzles aren't exactly a part of the exploration aspect of Zelda games. Well, they kind of are sometimes, I guess. Like having to look around a room for a certain, I don't know, a switch somewhere. And I was running really slow there for some reason. Or maybe that's, again, the angle of my TV being weird. Oh, I need a key. Where would I get the key from? From this bomby place? Of course. Whoa, keep bumping stuff. Of course, generic weight puzzle. You put more statues on this side, and they'll weigh this side down. And how did that not... Well, I guess I gotta time my throw or something like that. I think that should be good. Perfect. Not sure what's in this room. Probably nothing useful. Yeah, it's nothing useful. But I'll deal with it anyway to show off these enemies. And also, this aspect of the game, I guess. Kind of like Zelda's Lullaby. You play a song while on these specific panels, and it'll create something for you. Like a treasure chest most of the time. Actually, that's exactly what it always creates. However, it activates these enemies, which are Armos. At least I think they're Armos, I'm pretty sure they are. There are smaller variants, which we've seen, but I haven't really dealt with. Basically, you toss a bomb into their mouths when they open them, and you'll be able to destroy them. You can also shoot arrows in their eyes to stun them, I believe, and when you do stun them, I think you might get a, what's it called? An opportunity, I suppose. They'll open their mouths and you'll be able to throw a bomb in there on your own terms rather than having to wait for them. And just to be mean, I'm not opening that treasure chest. You could look inside and see what it is. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go on my merry way to the next room. In here's probably where we get our key, among other things. And I think I should take out the leaf so that I could fly around a little better. Or fly around at all, because I can't fly without it. Alright, let's take down these bubbles so that they don't get in our way first and foremost. And the mist kind of makes it hard to see where they are, especially if they're facing away from you. So let's head over here. I could probably just stand on this platform and shoot the eyeball. Shtabam. Make our way up. There's a treasure chest that is a red herring in this room, and then another treasure chest that actually has the key. I think this one right here might be the red herring, and it just has a joy pendant in it, which are useful, so I'm gonna get the joy pendant, if it is one. Oh, no, this is the key. I guess I could head out of here if I want to. The other treasure chest is on the opposite end of the room. You just shoot that with the arrow. It will create a platform. Well, it is a platform. It'll make the platform move, and then you can get to the chest, and yeah, that happens. Oh, wait a second. Is there a chest over there? Now I'm kind of curious. It doesn't look like there is. I missed that eyeball. Yeah, that platform doesn't have anything on it. So is there another switch somewhere that I have to hit? Oh, there totally is. And I almost fell to my doom. So let's shoot that switch as well. And I think this might be a metal chest. No, it's a normal wooden one. I don't want to deal with it. I'm not getting it. You can get it if you want. I don't care. I am gonna make my way out of this room. And now that we have that key, we can actually do the weight puzzle and get to the other side, where that last statue is probably residing. So let's throw these bad boys onto one of these scales, or this is a scale, one of the sides of the scale. How does this thing even work? There's nothing in the ceiling. It's just a black void. And the chains don't even fade out. They just cut off. I guess that's a little nitpicky. Nobody's really gonna look at the top of the room anyway. In here, this is actually pretty clever, in my opinion, because I didn't think to do this my first time going through, to use the Deku Leaf to get across. I was just confounded at how I was supposed to be able to get past. And now that we have this statue, we can command it to get through these lasers and step on that switch for us. Statues are kind of slow though. They have to hop around in order to move. But that is okay. Now let us return. And if you noticed, the posing that Link does when he's commanding something is the same pose as when he's using a Hioi pair. So that's kind of neat to know. That's a Wizrobe. They have beaks for some reason and a weird voice. Like when you hit them, it's really deep, but when you kill them, it's really high. It's kind of odd, but if you let them, they will start shooting fireballs at you, and you don't want that. So you probably want to kill them before they have a chance to do anything. Let's tip the scale so that there's a lot of weight on this side, because now that we have a statue with us, we weigh 2, and, well, no, Link weighs 1, the statue weighs 1, so you need to put even more weight on the other side, is pretty much what I'm trying to say. I'm surprised not one of these came to life. I guess you do need multiple, and in case you screw up, they gotta have a failsafe. Though resetting the room also works as that failsafe. However, with this last statue here, we're pretty much at the halfway point in this dungeon. It's going to reveal a pillar in the center that will allow us to get to the top. So I think this is a pretty good place to stop. This dungeon's also unique in that it doesn't have magic pots to teleport you around, but it kind of doesn't need it because it has this center thing which is going to take us up. And the first area of the dungeon was the bit with the stairs over here, and that treasure chest was not on the platform. It's just not on the platform. It's just floating there. Either way, the entrance to the dungeon is just right through that door, so it's not that much of a chore to get back here if you do need to do so. But this is the end of the part. Next time on Wind Waker, we are going to be heading even further into this dungeon, and 100% we're going to be beating it.